Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we are jumping in with this little watercolor painting, and I'm going to talk about the painting but also a little bit on an art topic, which I usually like to do, so I might switch gears a little bit every once in a while. Just a little bit on what I actually am drawing. This was a sketch from a little while ago that I'm finally finishing up, but I am trying to do a different technique for this one, and I've actually found that these small paintings are my way of basically experimenting and trying things out. Because I'm, one, not really great at keeping a sketchbook, but two, I am not always able to try out different watercolor methods and overall looks in a sketchbook. So that's basically how I treat this one. It ends up going in a very different direction than I thought it would, and I'm really pretty happy with the end result, actually. But I'll talk more about that, and I'll talk more about the things that I could have done better, like always, towards the end. But I did want to talk a little bit today about something that I've only recently begun to realize I think about, or that's affecting me. And maybe it's not very common, but I did want to put this out there because I feel like it's negatively impacted me. But what I want to talk about is, as for me, as an artist, I've always known that that's what I'm supposed to do. It's something that just has always connected with me in a very strong way. And most of the time, I always liked it. But there are a lot of times where I didn't like drawing. That doesn't mean I stopped drawing, and it doesn't mean that I felt that I was no longer an artist. But it wasn't always where I always sat down, and when I was drawing, I always felt, wow, I feel super great while I'm drawing, or wow, this piece is so amazing that I feel great, or wow, I'm experimenting and that's fun. It's not always been something that I've liked. And maybe it sounds crazy because I feel like that's always this attitude that you can lose motivation, you can lose inspiration, but you need to always like it. No one ever says, I don't like drawing anymore, unless they're like done with it. So I don't know, I just kind of want to address this because I feel like the more as I've turned into a professional artist, as I've moved in this direction, I'm beginning to realize more that this feeling that I have of not always loving drawing, and I'll point out right now, I'm actually feeling really great about working on pieces, about just the act of art is really enjoyable to me right now. But I've experienced this many times. But as I get older and into this realm, I'm starting to realize that I don't have to put myself behind this facade of always acting like this is the best thing I've ever done, or I mean the act of drawing. And it's starting to help, honestly. When I was younger, I felt this way. I always put so much pressure on myself to convince myself that no, I'm wrong. I really do like drawing. I really like it right now. I love creating. I love drawing what I'm drawing. And because of that, it stressed me out because I wasn't enjoying it. And it gave me guilt because I felt like I was fighting for this. But ultimately, that feeling passes, and then I get back into really just truly loving it and enjoying what I'm doing. And then it comes back again where I hit a low and it's no longer something that's amazingly fun for me. I don't enjoy it as much anymore. And I think that's the big thing, is that I've had one big time where I pretty much stopped drawing altogether, and it was horrible. So even when I feel like I don't like drawing, I always know that I am an artist and I still want to create, and I still know that I'm going to get back over this like hump of not liking it. So I feel like this is different than simply not feeling motivated, and I feel like it's not really addressed. People are always pushed to say and think that you love what you're doing, you love the art you're doing and creating, and you love creating. And I think that it's unhealthy in a way. I think that I've felt much freer now that I've like accepted that I can think, all right, I'm not really digging what I'm doing right now. I don't really love drawing right now. And the last couple of weeks haven't been super inspiring or exciting for me. And that's okay, because I'm still an artist. I'm still going to move on. I'm still going to make things happen. So basically, as I've repeated myself several times, I think now, I just want to put that out there that it's okay to not like drawing, and it's okay to not like art at times. What takes you down from being an artist isn't not liking to draw, it's when you stop drawing. So I definitely have very personal experience with that, where the point that I stopped drawing, I still felt like that was a name that I wanted. I wanted to still be an artist. That was who I was. And eventually I was able to get back to it. I was able to begin drawing again. And because I knew that that was something that it wasn't always going to be this thing that no matter what I was going to feel positively about, I ultimately was able to come back to it with much more strong of a resolve than I did before. But yeah, just remember that you're not alone when it comes to not liking drawing, and you're not alone when it comes to struggling to even enjoy something that's supposed to be innate to you in a lot of people's eyes. So that's about it with talking about that subject, I think. But I do want to talk about this painting a little bit. Okay, so like I mentioned, this one was a bit experimental, and that is what's so great about doing small paintings, is that the impact of messing up certain areas is a lot less than when you're doing a very big one that you've already spent hours on. And I let myself really just go with this one. I didn't plan like anything out at all. So there are definitely some things where I'm like, hey, if I had planned this, I could have done that better. And it wasn't really a decision to not plan things. It was just more a lack of planning on my part. But to begin, I remember doing this specific assignment and a specific technique in my watercolor class where I learned to do all my watercolors. But I don't remember what it was exactly, and I don't remember what its purpose was, but I do remember it was like, maybe if one of you guys recognize this, you can let me know what it's called. But we did, it was like leaves, so there were lots of positive and negative shapes, and we just went in and layered multicolored blending watercolor washes, where you just let the watercolor do its thing over it in like the negative spaces, I think, and then we let it dry, and then we just layered and layered, but we made sure that we like matched where that particular color was underneath, so that when they intermingled, the edges would start blending in an interesting way, but the core of it stayed pure to that color, if that makes sense. But I really have no idea what it actually was for, or what the outcome was supposed to be. I remember enjoying it, but I took some of those general hand motions of when I was mixing these colors together in her hair into this. I thought about each shape, and then I painted it with basically two colors. As I worked with it, I mixed in a little bit of a different blue or a little bit more pinks, just to give it a little bit of variety. But basically I had this pinky purple and a blue color, and I would do one section and I'd have one area that was mostly pink, and then it would blend into the blue and then blend into the pink, and then I'd dry that out so I could do the next section next to it. And I'd made sure that it was contrasting, so if it was next to a pink, it would be blue in that area, and then it would go blue, pink, blue, and the next one would basically be pink, blue, pink. And I really like this. It was a lot freer and looser than what my flat washes look like, because there was a lot of variation already put into it. So I really actually think that that's something that if I was more planned out with, I could get results that I would be pretty happy with. This is definitely something that I would have to put a little bit more practice in, because there were areas on this one where it definitely got a little bit different than I thought, or it was darker than I intended much quicker. But overall, it was a process that I liked a lot, where I just let there be a lot more color variation within that first layer. I started painting her dress area, and that was the least planned out section. My sketch originally just had her like floating cut off about her shoulder length, and I don't really know why I decided to do that with the first one, but I reworked it a little bit. But I was just ready to start painting it, and I didn't really give it the thought and the time that it obviously needed. I tend to do that actually, where I'll just jump ahead and jump the gun, but I do end up going in with gold paint, and it covers up the very dark paint. And this is one of those times where it was like, it really could have gone really bad, and it definitely is very different than what I would have done if I planned it out, but I actually kind of like it. I like the concept of it, at least. Again, if I'd planned it out, if I'd planned this like golden bush thing, I would have been able to make the composition more interesting and make the shapes better, but it's something that I wouldn't have thought of until I was in the moment doing it. So I think that's one of those things where it's, I can wish that I had planned it, but ultimately I wouldn't have. So because of this, because it was unplanned, I was able to learn something that I kind of like, and I kind of like that concept, so I might have to incorporate this thing that's this big, significant shape made out of gold all on its own into a future piece. I don't know. I actually really liked painting that, and I liked how it looked. And that is it for today. I do love talking about stuff that goes into being an artist, not just creating art. So let me know in the description if you have anything you'd like me to talk about, or anything that you're struggling with that you'd like some input on. Let me know. I always love hearing about what you guys are thinking about. But yeah, I do, as usual, have the original available. So if you'd like to own her, I have a link in the description as well as in the end box that'll take you to my art shop. And I have lots of prints and buttons and other originals there as well. And yeah, that is pretty much it for today. I do post every Wednesdays and Saturdays, so I'll see you guys in my next video.